Good evening and welcome to our children's story time. I am Pastor Alex Stewart coming to you from Trinity Lutheran Church in Richmond. And welcome to all those that join us on a regular basis, and welcome to anybody that is new with us this evening or watching this at any time. This evening, I want to read a story from our Gospel of Matthew. Now, for many of us, the new year, when we talk about that, we think of New Year's Day, January 1st, where everything kind of resets and we start again. But that is not the same in the church year. The church year ends right before Advent, what we call the liturgical year. So this coming Sunday is Christ the King, or Reign of Christ Sunday, which is usually the end of our church year. So we begin a new church year with the season of Advent. Which, if you remember, is as we build up to Christmas, is those 4 weeks right before Christmas and Christmas Eve when we celebrate the birth of Jesus. So, in a way, we are kind of turning the page this next week into something new, where we usually do that as we celebrate with family. As we celebrate, we move from 2020 into 2021. In the church year, that's kind of already happening this coming week. So, one of our readings from this week comes from the Gospel of Matthew, and it talks about sheep and goats. So that is the story I would like to share with you this evening. And once again, I'm going to be reading our story from the Whirl Kids Story Bible. Jesus, how do you know who serves you and who doesn't? The disciples asked or wondered. I know who serves me like a shepherd knows his sheep, Jesus explained. A shepherd knows how to tell a sheep from a goat. People who serve me are like my sheep. People who don't are like goats. We want to be like sheep, the disciples said eagerly. How can we serve you? When you serve other people, you serve me. Jesus smiled. When you feed someone who is hungry, you serve me. When you share your blanket with someone who is cold, you serve me. When you care for someone who is sick, you serve me. The disciples looked pleased with themselves. Of course they knew how to serve Jesus. So there's pictures of feeding somebody, maybe sharing a blanket, and then feeding somebody when they're sick or in need and hungry. But Jesus warned, when people do not serve others, they do not serve me. Every time you ignore someone who needs your help, it is like ignoring me too. Uh-oh, the disciples looked at each other. They felt nervous as they started thinking about if they had ignored someone who needed help. How can we be sure to always serve you, Jesus, they asked. Help others. Share. Love each other, Jesus replied. God's kingdom is for those who show their love by serving others in need. And actually, our pictures on this page are the same as the other ones because it's that nature of serving. So, are there ways that you like to serve people that you can think of? Are there times when you've helped a grandparent or a parent that has been fun in serving? But even more so, is there a time that you've helped a neighbor or even a stranger? If you maybe have taken them a meal when they're sick, or helped rake their yard or mow their lawn? Is there a time when maybe you knew that you should serve and you didn't, that you'd rather do something else like play video games? Jesus tells us that we serve him being unaware. We don't know when we're serving Jesus. We are just called to serve everybody. And if we looked at our gospel lesson, reading it from what we usually read on Sundays, that's kind of how it goes. The disciples are wondering, When have we fed you? When have we gave you something to quench your thirst? When have we assisted you in any way? And Jesus tells them, all those times you helped me, all those times when you fed me, or you fed someone, you gave somebody something to drink, you've clothed someone, that's helping Jesus. So Jesus' presence is around us all the time, and we never know, say in the church, when somebody's coming in and asking for money for gas, or maybe wondering where they can get a meal. Serving the person like that is serving Jesus, because we never know what it is that Jesus calls us to. We don't know where Jesus is, where his presence is with us, with exactly at that time. Jesus asks us to invite them in, to welcome them, and to serve, to love them as he loved us. So that's one thing to especially be thankful for as we're heading into this next week of Thanksgiving, is to be thankful for those things that God gives us, and Jesus' presence with us, and the ability to serve one another. So as you go about this evening, next week is Thanksgiving. We will not be doing our children's story time next week, but the following week we will be back with our children's story time, and looking at some great Christmas stories that I have. So before we leave for this evening, can we put our hands together, bow our heads, and do a repeat after me prayer? Dear God, thank you. Thank you for showing us how to serve others and showing us how to love. Amen. Have a wonderful evening and a good Thanksgiving.